All right, so we are going to complete our graphing lab. I believe this is lab number 5. So when you are attending lab class, remember you're completing the daily attendance for when you have lab. It could be a second period lab or you have 7th period lab for me. So make sure you're picking the right choice on the attendance sheet. Then you're going to go down to the lab folder. And we'll scroll down. You can see there's the graphing lab. And I've put a note on the folder. You're going to have 2 lab periods to complete it. So it's a full lab cycle. And then ultimately it is due by October 4th. Remember, you want these labs done correctly and on time so that you can earn these lab minutes for taking the Regents exam. So let's open the graphing lab assignment here, and it says you have 2 lab periods to complete it. Make sure you read all the directions carefully, and then you're only going to click on the submit button when you're completely finished. Since it will take you a couple periods to complete, you don't want to click submit in between. You just want to wait until you're totally done. Okay, so up at the top, remember you're clicking my document. I'm going to open my version so you can see what it will look like. So this is another station activity. So you're going to have the 8 stations with the various types of learning styles. So very similar to the scientific method station activity, you're going to click on each of the screens that'll take you to that activity. This one has the video. You've got some questions to answer, and you'll answer them on the side. Your Read It has a couple of pages of reading with a place to write your notes, and then that last slide for the Read It station, you're going to answer your questions. Then we have, there we go, Explore It. This is going to take up a few slides here. So the Explore It, we're learning about graphing. So this is going to involve you having to draw graphs. The dry mix acronym over here is to help you remember where you put the independent and the dependent variables, okay? So dry is dependent, it's the responding variable, this is your data. The y-axis is where it goes, dry, and then mix, manipulated variable, or the independent variable, that's the x-axis. So you're gonna answer these questions. You know, it wants to know, what is this graph showing? So you're going to tell me about the data here. It's showing a trend, right, over time. And what conclusions can you make? And then we move on to some more reading information that gives you some background for the Explore It station. And then here, you're analyzing, trying to figure out what's the independent and dependent variables. And now here, you're going to construct a line graph with this data. The next page is going to help you insert your picture. So here you're going to, ideally, I would like you to use paper to draw your graph. If you have graph paper, that's even better, because on the Regents exam, you will have to draw a graph by hand as it stands now. Maybe they'll change that design, but right now you do actually have to know how to make a graph. So you can take paper and pencil and draw your graph using the data on this slide. And then you'll submit it to this slide. You'll take a picture of it and then upload it to this particular slide. And then moving on to the Research It station, you're going to click on this link. It says list, you're going to read the information there. List the 4 types of graphs, and then using the information that you learned from the web page, you're going to answer questions 1 through 5 at the bottom of the web page on this space over here. So you have to have the web page open. You're answering those questions in this answer space. Organize it. You're going to click and drag these. You can click them near, where they belong there. Then we have to illustrate it. So decide which type of graph will best represent the fact that majority of students like pizza. And they said the data is on the next page. So your next page is showing here. What kind of graph would you draw? And then you're actually going to make that. Be sure to color and label. You're actually going to make the graph here. Again, you can either do on paper, or you can use the Google Draw app or whatever other graphics app you like. And then here you've got some Write It station questions. And then you've got the Assess It to make sure you understand what we need you to know about graphing. And then you have the challenge You're picking one or more of these four, so you can do quiz version, you can do the research, research this information, an interview, or a haiku poem, giving you some creative choices there. So that takes you through the graphing lab.